Hello guys, in this today video we're gonna deploy Microservices Web App on AWS EKS. If you are familiar with AWS EKS, EKS is a very amazing service by AWS. It will allow to deploy web app, any Kubernetes web application, any Kubernetes application on cloud. So I'm gonna deploy a web app, Microservices Web App. So if you look at the diagram, the ingress controller, I will use an nginx load balancer ingress controller, and the 5 port will be create front-end API gateway and microservices jokes PHP app, and the other one is microservices quotes flask app. So to deploy this application, let me first create an user for the command line usage so I can use AWS CLI. So for that, search IAM there, and let's create one more user for the usage of CLI. Add users, CLI2. Next, and I will copy the permission of the high CLI. The same permission will be copy the full administrator this policy. If I search here, administrator access, okay, create user, can add tags if you want. So let's just take a security credentials, access keys. Let's create an access keys for the command line interface usage. Check this command and check this below mapped. Next, description tag values, let me just create it. So this is the access key and this is the secret access key. For the security purpose, I will download this CSV file. So let's just log in with this. AWS configure. It will ask the AWS access key ID. The default dream region I will leave a blank. I will also leave it blank. That's it. The AWS is configured with these count. So now let's just create master node in AWS EKS. So for the creation of master node, add cluster, create, and the name of the cluster. So I'm gonna name it choke quote because it's a choke and quote app. Kubernetes versions and the IAM role. If you don't know about how to create this, so I will delete it and create it for you again. IAM roles. So it's a EKS cluster role. You search there. Here's the role. I will delete it. EKS cluster. Yeah. So if you come here, so the role is gone. So let's just create a new row, create row, and AWS service EC2, choose a service to you, search EKS, yeah. The role I'm using is EKS cluster, so click on EKS cluster. Next, it will automatically attach EKS cluster role. Set boundary optional, you don't have to set this permission. Create on next, click on the next option and the role name option. Enter mini field name to identify this role. I will leave it blank. The role name is required. Okay, so EKS, the same name is now EKS cluster, create row. The role is created. If you come here and refresh it, you can see yes, EKS cluster role selected. Next, the VPC and the subnets, 3 subnets are using automatically, and the security groups, the security group we choose default. Choose cluster IP address family IPv4, cluster endpoint access public. Next, and I'm not doing any monitoring, so I will leave it as blank. Next, the version active proxy APC PCNI, I will leave it all default. Okay, click on next. Then the cluster configuration, the all things will be review and create. Okay, it's perfect. I will create the EKS cluster. It will take some time to up. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna deploy this ingress controller. So for the deploy in this cluster, we have to first install Helm on this PC. So for the installation of Helm, it's very straightforward. Click on Helm, the package manager for Kubernetes, docs, how to install this docs home. Installing Helm, and for chocolatey Windows, copy this command and paste on terminal. Yes, it will automatically install for you. Maximum tries to restoring error. It will give error while installing. Okay, so let's just try another way. Helm versions, let's just check the release versions of the Helm. So Windows AMD 64, save. So this is the file, the extracted file, and this is helm. So copy this path and open environment path. If you are Linux, then it was very easy for you. Install helm and click on path, new path. Okay. So to again open it, this to type helm, so it will work. Yeah, it will take time to load cluster. So the cluster creation is done, the status is active. So now let's just try to create AWS nodes, node groups. In the compute section you will see node groups, add node group, assign a name, EKS node group, select an IAM role, ES worker node policy. So if you don't know how to create this, I will create it for you on role sections. EKS worker node policy, I will delete it and create it again. Okay, search here, the role will is gone. So for the creation, if you don't know how to create this, search simple EKS node group. Manage node group AWS user EKS. Create click on role, AWS services EC2, and click on next. So this is the documentation of Amazon EKS node IAM role. Simply search on Google and you will find easily. So you have to add 3 policy: Amazon EKS work node policy, AWS search, its name is worker node policy. This policy check, and another one is Amazon to EC2 container registry. Amazon EC2 container registry read only. Give it only read only access. Full access will be also take care. So check this. Yeah, and there is Amazon's EKS C9 policy. Check this and click on next. Give a role name, node group EKS. That's perfect. 3 services will be attached. These permissions. Yes. and create role. uh, so the no row the role is created now. Click on refresh. If you come here and refresh, node group EKS, and labels, stains, tags. Click on next. The machine will be used. There are so many machines, so Amazon Linux I will use. Capacity on demand, and the instance I will use is T2 micro. Yeah, disk size 20 GB, and the nodes I will use 4. Desired size, maximum size I will set all 4. Node group update configuration number in percentage. Click on next. The subnets, click on next. So this is the review and create. Click on next. Yeah, so the 4 nodes will be created. Come here, the status is creating. It will take some time to create. So this is the web app repository. You can just go on this URL and files. You will find some files. This is the manifest file of Kubernetes. And this is how the web app looks like. So now the node group will be active for this Elastic Kubernetes service or this cluster, and these 4 nodes are active and ready. So let's just try to kubectl. So the kubectl is not recognized. It means I have to, or I have to install first kubectl on this PC. Once download is done, I will set the kubectl on environments. This is kubectl, so I will put in there. So the benefit is I don't have to add, and I can run it from here. Okay, so the kubectl is also working, but for that I have to add So the kubectl installation is done. Now add this cluster on kubeconfig so it can represent on this cluster. So now the installation is done of kubectl, and let's try to add uh, the cluster on kubeconfig so I can access for the update kubeconfig command AWS EKS update kubeconfig, and the region is US East 2, and the name of cluster is Qt. I will check the cluster name is Qt. Match this name with this, and the US region is Ohio US East 2. Update, and it will give some argument operation error. Let me just see that how the argument. An error occurred when calling the described cluster operation. Signature expired. So the reason is that the clock is not so the reason of this error is getting because the clock is falls behind before the time, so it will not match the time, so that's why I got this error. Now the error is solved, and this after the running this command, adding new context, and this error will be matched with this cluster. So if I try to kubectl get nodes, provide some credential, okay. So before that I have to map a new user with this and try to run the same command on this AWS update AWS EKS, and update kubeconfig, the region US East 2, and the name of the cluster is Qt. The new context is added. If I try to run kubectl get nodes, the 4 node is ready, so to use the kubectl get nodes command here, any resources. So for that we have to map with according to this user. So if I just show you this block, that how you can map the user. If I try to run this command on the AWS console, cloud shell, paste, yes, this. So this is the config map. Now let's just try to edit this. So the Vim editor is open, and try to edit this section. Copy this map users and open notepad. So this thing I have to change, user ARN. So how can I get my user ARN? If you go on IAM role and click on users, and the user I will using this here, HDCLI2, the ARN, copy ARN and paste on here, and the username is HDCLI2. Okay, and copy this all, press I, and paste on the middle section, paste, and let's just try, be careful with the indent. Map user ARN, username and groups. Okay, so it's a perfect indent. I'm gonna save it, control escape, and column WQ, enter. And if I try to get this kubectl file, this is updated. And if I try to use any resources, so now I can access in my terminal. The 4 node is ready. So let's try to get service. The single services Kubernetes is available. kubectl get all. So let us try to add a ingress, ngins ingress. Wait a second, I will share blog installation of installation guide by him. Copy this and paste on terminal. So some sir, That's perfect. Helm upgrade, install, create namespace, copy this and make sure that the command is correct. And it will create a load balancer automatically. If you want to read this, I will give the link on the description and the old resources that I am using here. And the manifest file, I try to yes, I already cloned this microservice create microservices. You can also check this this repository. The creates file include all the manifest file. Yeah, it will take some time to install nginx load balancer, ingress. Yeah, so it's installed. If I try to kubectl get service, and the namespace is ingress. What's the name of this namespace? Is ingress nginx. The load balancer is created, and this is the DNS. I mean, this is a load balancer. If I copy this and try to hit the web browser, the 404 not found. That means the load balancer is working. So I just try to install this manifest file. kubectl install apply -f kits. The all the services is created with the default namespaces. It will take time to ready 4 ports. kubectl get svc, kubectl get ingress. So it will take time to assign address. With this load balancer, it will automatically link the load balancer with this, and I hard coded these domain names on the front-end app, so it's not a bad practice, but I did in there. So yeah, the load balancer is attached with this. The ng404 not for nginx, because I written on the manifest file that if I hit this URL, then it will allow me to access the web page. So for that I need this domain to use this. So I have this domain. So this is the domain I'm using. Now let's update the CNAME records of this. kubectl get ingress. Copy this address and paste on here. Date, add this new one, delete this and add this new one, and save all changes. So it will take some time to map this address with the domain name. File our h343.me. So the site can't be reached. So let's just see that the domain name will be mapped or not with the DNS address. Yeah, so it will map according to the address. And if I try to get quote, and the quote can be get with the CPI get joke, and both the API is running well. Yeah, that's the all pod and services deployments replica set. Still getting ingress. So the web app is running perfectly on this domain. The path-based routing. Suppose if I hit this URL API status, then the status okay. The different path will be give different result. If I type random joke, then it will give me a random joke, any joke. And if I try to write quote, it will give me different quotes. So yeah, so the web application is deployed successfully on EKS. If you find this video really helpful, then please make sure that you will like this video, and all the resources that I have used I will give on the description. So please make sure that you will check the description, and I will see you in the another video. Goodbye.